The market does not destroy traders randomly. It waits, it studies them, and then it strikes. Not during obvious chaos, but during subtle moments of weakness. Jesse Livermore understood this better than almost anyone in financial history. He made and lost fortunes multiple times. He experienced the ecstasy of being called the greatest speculator alive, and the devastation of total collapse. And through those cycles, he discovered something most traders never truly accept. It is not only what you trade that matters. It is when you trade. There are two deadly trading times, silent traps, that quietly eliminate accounts. The first deadly time is when the market is unclear. Most traders believe they must always be active. Screens are open, charts are moving, candles are printing every second. The temptation to participate feels overwhelming. But Livermore believed that the biggest money was made not in the trading, but in the waiting. He often said he made his money by sitting, not thinking. An unclear market is one without direction. Price moves up and down in tight ranges. Breakouts fail. Trends reverse quickly. News creates spikes that disappear within minutes. To the inexperienced trader, this environment feels full of opportunity. There is movement everywhere. But movement is not opportunity. Movement without direction is noise, and noise drains capital. When markets lack structure, they reward randomness. But professionals do not trade randomness. They trade probability. Livermore avoided markets that did not show clear accumulation or distribution. He waited for confirmation, a sustained move supported by behavior, not excitement. The unclear market attacks ego. It whispers, "You're missing out." It creates fear of missing the next big move. So traders force trades. They enter without conviction. They exit without discipline. Losses accumulate quietly, not dramatically, but steadily. Death by 1,000 cuts. Livermore understood that preservation of capital is preservation of opportunity. If you trade during unclear conditions, you reduce your ability to act when clarity finally arrives. The second deadly trading time is even more dangerous. It is the moment immediately after a big win. Success intoxicates. After a strong, profitable trade, confidence surges. The trader feels aligned with the market. Decisions feel sharp. Timing feels perfect. And that is precisely when discipline begins to weaken. Warned against emotional expansion after financial expansion. Traders win big. They increase position sizes impulsively. They relax risk management rules. They believe they have found a rhythm that cannot be broken. But the market does not reward emotional confidence. It punishes overconfidence. Many of Livermore's personal collapses came after periods of extraordinary success. He admitted that after major victories he became less cautious. He believed he could see the market clearly at all times. That illusion cost him millions. The psychology is simple. A big win rewires perception. Losses feel unlikely. Risk feels smaller than it truly is. And traders enter the next position not with analysis, but with momentum from pride. The market does not care about your last trade. Every trade is independent. When you trade immediately after a large win without emotional reset, you are no longer trading the chart. You are trading your ego. This is the second deadly time. Livermore eventually realized that discipline must remain constant regardless of results. A winning streak does not justify recklessness. A losing streak does not justify desperation. The market offers opportunity only to those who remain emotionally neutral between these two deadly times. Unclear markets and post-victory overconfidence. Most traders lose consistency. Consider how often traders enter during sideways conditions because they are bored, or how often they double size after a strong breakout winner because they feel unstoppable. It is rarely one catastrophic mistake that destroys accounts. It is repeated participation during the wrong moments. Livermore approached markets like a hunter. He did not chase every movement. He waited for the environment to favor him. He studied tape action. He analyzed behavior. He entered only when probability aligned with patience. And when he won, he protected his mindset before protecting his profits. That is the discipline most traders never build. Avoiding unclear markets requires humility. It requires accepting that sometimes the best trade is no trade. It requires turning off the screen while others overtrade. Avoiding post-win recklessness requires emotional maturity. It requires stepping back after success. It requires treating the next trade with the same caution as the first. The irony is powerful. The market feels most tempting precisely when it is most dangerous. When it moves wildly without direction, it invites action. When it rewards you generously, it invites arrogance. But professional consistency lives in restraint. Livermore's legacy is not just about massive gains. It is about understanding psychological timing. He knew markets operate in phases: accumulation, markup, distribution, decline. He waited for structure, and he learned, often painfully, that emotional spikes, whether from boredom or pride, distort judgment. The two deadly trading times are not visible on your chart. They exist inside you. One whispers, "Do something." The other whispers, "You can't lose." Both are lies. The disciplined trader responds differently. During unclear markets, he observes. After big wins, he reduces size or pauses. He understands that capital is ammunition, and emotional balance is survival. Livermore once said the game taught him the game. It taught him through losses, through collapses, through experience that pain can be a teacher if ego does not interfere. Modern markets move faster. Algorithms execute in milliseconds. Information spreads instantly. But human psychology remains unchanged. Boredom still causes impulsive trades. Pride still causes oversized positions. And clarity still rewards patience. If you master these two moments, the unclear environment and the emotional high after success, you eliminate two of the most common causes of failure. The market will always offer another opportunity, but only if you survive long enough to see it. The market rarely destroys traders with a single blow. Instead, it erodes them slowly. One trade becomes five become 20. Charts stay open late into the night. Notifications never stop. The trader feels busy, active, engaged, but activity is not profitability. This is the silent killer. Overtrading. Jesse Livermore understood that frequency does not equal success. He observed that most traders fail not because lack intelligence, but because they lack restraint. Overtrading begins with good intentions. A trader wants to recover a small loss, or maximize a perceived opportunity, or simply stay involved. But beneath these reasons lies something deeper: discomfort with stillness. Silence feels unproductive. Waiting feels like missing out. So trades are taken without full confirmation. Livermore believed the real money was made in big moves, not small fluctuations. But big moves require patience. They require sitting through dull periods when nothing meaningful happens. Most traders cannot tolerate that. They seek stimulation, and the market provides endless stimulation. Each small movement feels like potential profit. Each candle feels like urgency. But without a structured edge, these entries become random participation. Random participation leads to inconsistent outcomes. Inconsistent outcomes lead to emotional instability. And emotional instability leads to account destruction. Livermore avoided constant action. He waited for alignment between price behavior and market structure. He believed speculation was a business, not entertainment. Overtrading transforms business into gambling. There is a psychological cycle at work. A trader enters a mediocre setup. It loses slightly. He enters another to recover. It loses again. Frustration builds. Position size increases. Focus decreases. Soon the account is damaged, not from one mistake, but from too many decisions. Decision fatigue is real. The brain deteriorates under continuous stress. Pattern recognition declines. Emotional control weakens. The trader begins reacting instead of planning. Livermore knew this long before neuroscience explained it. He spaced his trades. He analyzed deeply. He protected mental clarity. Overtrading also destroys risk-reward balance. Small random trades rarely offer asymmetric payoff. They generate commissions, slippage, and stress, but not substantial edge. Consistency comes from quality, not quantity. Professional traders often make fewer trades than amateurs because they understand probability clusters. They wait for confirmation. They allow the market to reveal itself. The amateur chases every movement. The professional filters. Overtrading is often disguised as dedication. Long hours, multiple charts, constant monitoring. But discipline sometimes means closing the platform. Livermore famously stepped away during unclear periods. He understood that the market will not run away forever. Opportunities repeat. Capital does not. If you spend your energy and funds on low-quality trades, you will not be prepared for high-quality ones. That is the silent tragedy. Overtrading drains not just money, but confidence, and confidence, once fractured, leads to hesitation when real opportunity appears. The solution is not complexity, it is selectivity. Define your setup, define your risk, define your timing, and then wait. Most traders fail because they cannot sit still. Livermore succeeded because he could. Markets are not conquered by intelligence alone. They are conquered by emotional control. Jesse Livermore's life was a study in extremes. Massive gains, devastating losses, public admiration, private struggle. And through that volatility, he uncovered a truth that remains timeless. The real edge is not strategy. It is discipline. Emotional discipline is invisible. It does not appear on indicators. It cannot be downloaded or purchased. It is developed through awareness. Fear and greed are not cliches. They are biological impulses. When price drops sharply, fear triggers survival instinct. The mind demands exit. When price rises aggressively, greed demands expansion. Livermore learned that reacting emotionally to price movement destroys consistency. He observed crowd behavior, panic selling, euphoric buying. He realized that markets exaggerate human emotion, and to survive, one must operate differently from the crowd. Emotional discipline begins with acceptance. Losses are inevitable. Even perfect setups fail. If a trader cannot accept this, he will fight losses. He will widen stops. He will average down. He will hope instead of act. Hope is not a strategy. Livermore cut losses quickly, not because he enjoyed it, but because he respected probability. On the other side, greed tempts traders to exit winners too early or overextend positions. Emotional balance requires neutrality. Each trade must be treated as independent. Confidence must not become arrogance. Caution must not become fear. Livermore's greatest lesson was internal. He realized the market reflects human weakness, and mastery requires self-awareness. Modern traders have advanced platforms, faster execution, endless data. But without emotional discipline, tools become weapons against the user. True edge comes from routine, from risk management, from detachment. When you detach from the need to be right, clarity improves. When you detach from immediate gratification, patience grows. When you detach from ego, consistency becomes possible. Livermore's life proves that knowledge alone is insufficient. Emotional control determines longevity. The market is a mirror. If you are impulsive, it will expose you. If you are arrogant, it will humble you. If you are disciplined, it will reward you. Slowly, steadily. In the end, the greatest battle is not against volatility. It is against yourself. And the trader who masters emotion masters probability. If you want next, 70 cinematic prompts for this first script. Thumbnail text ideas, high CTR, style, search engine optimization, optimized description with hashtags, or Urdu version documentary style. The market rarely destroys traders in dramatic fashion. There is no warning siren, no explosion, no single catastrophic candle that wipes everything away in an instant. Instead, destruction often arrives quietly, gradually, trade by trade. This is the silent killer of traders, overtrading. At first, it does not look dangerous. It looks productive. Screens are filled with charts. Indicators flash signals. The trader feels active, involved, committed. There is movement everywhere. Opportunities seem endless. Every small fluctuation appears tradable. But activity is not the same as progress. Jesse Livermore understood this truth long before modern trading platforms existed. He witnessed countless speculators lose fortunes, not because they lacked intelligence, but because they lacked restraint. They believed constant action meant constant opportunity. In reality, constant action often meant constant erosion. Overtrading begins subtly. A trader takes a setup that is slightly below his usual standard. Not terrible, just not perfect. It moves against him. He exits with a small loss. The loss feels uncomfortable, not painful enough to stow. Trading, but irritating enough to trigger urgency. He wants it back, so he enters another trade, and another, and another. The problem is no longer the market. The problem becomes the emotional state. Overtrading is rarely about charts. It is about psychology. Livermore believed the real money was made in major movements, large, sustained trends that developed over time. He waited for markets to show their hand. He studied behavior, volume, structure. He entered when probability was aligned with momentum. But most traders cannot tolerate waiting. Waiting feels unproductive. Silence feels like missing out. In a world where charts update every second, inactivity feels like weakness, and so they trade. They trade breakouts that have no follow-through. They trade pullbacks that lack structure. They trade news spikes without context. They trade boredom. The result is not dramatic collapse. It is slow bleeding. Each trade costs more than money. It costs mental clarity. Decision fatigue accumulates. The mind grows tired from constant analysis. The emotional system becomes overstimulated. Focus deteriorates. Soon, trades are no longer strategic decisions. They are reactions. Livermore often stepped away from the market during unclear periods. He understood that not every day offered opportunity. Markets move in cycles: accumulation, markup, distribution, decline. Between these phases lies confusion, sideways action, false signals. He refused to participate in confusion. The average trader, however, feels compelled to act during these times. A tight range becomes an invitation. Minor volatility feels exciting. Small profits create temporary satisfaction, but commissions accumulate. Late, losses stack. Confidence weakens. Overtrading creates inconsistency. Inconsistency creates doubt. Doubt leads to impulsive decisions. There is a biological explanation behind this cycle. Each trade activates emotional responses. Wins trigger dopamine. Losses trigger stress hormones. When trades are frequent, the nervous system remains in a heightened state. Clarity disappears. Emotional control diminishes. The trader becomes addicted to stimulation. Livermore recognized that speculation was a business, not entertainment. Businesses do not operate on impulse. They operate on edge and discipline. He did not need constant excitement. He needed asymmetrical opportunity. He waited for what he called the line of least resistance. That phrase is powerful. The line of least resistance means alignment with dominant trend and momentum. When price moves smoothly with strength, resistance is minimal. When price chops unpredictably, resistance is everywhere. Overtraders fight resistance constantly. They attempt to force profits from noise. Noise does not reward consistency. Another danger of overtrading is distorted risk perception. When trades are frequent, each individual trade feels less significant. Risk becomes casual. Stop losses are widened. Position sizes fluctuate randomly. Rules bend under emotional pressure. Structure disappears. Without structure, probability collapses. Livermore observed that the crowd is most active during dull periods. They seek movement. They chase small fluctuations. Meanwhile, professionals conserve energy and capital, waiting for expansion phases. It is during expansion phases that fortunes are made. But if capital has been drained during company, entraction phases, participation becomes impossible. This is the tragedy of overtrading. The trader exhausts himself before the real opportunity arrives. There is also an ego component. Many traders equate busyness with skill. If they are not trading, they question their competence. They believe professional traders must be constantly engaged. In reality, professionals are often patient observers. Livermore could sit for days, even weeks, studying without entering positions. He understood that preservation of capital was preservation of power. Power in markets comes from optionality, the ability to act decisively when conditions are favorable. Overtrading removes optionality. It locks the trader into continuous engagement, reducing flexibility. Consider the emotional cycle of an overtrader. A small win creates confidence. A small loss creates irritation. A series of small losses creates urgency. Urgency leads to larger trades. Larger trades increase volatility of outcomes. Emotional swings intensify. Soon the account reflects chaos, not because of one terrible decision, but because of too many unnecessary ones. Livermore once lost large sums not from lack of knowledge, but from emotional deviation. He admitted that after periods of inactivity, He sometimes re-entered markets aggressively, seeking action. Those periods often ended poorly. The lesson was painful but clear. Patience is not passive, it is strategic. The ability to do nothing when nothing should be done is a skill. Modern trading culture encourages constant engagement. Social media highlights daily trades. Screenshots of rapid profits create unrealistic expectations. Traders feel pressured to replicate NC. But frequency without edge is destruction. The market offers countless minor fluctuations. Only a fraction contains sustainable probability. The discipline to filter is what separates survival from failure. Overtrading also reduces the quality of analysis. When a trader expects to trade daily, he unconsciously lowers criteria. Setups that once required strong confirmation now require less. Standards decline. Gradually, the trading plan erodes, and without a plan, there is no consistency. Livermore believed in waiting for confirmation of strength before increasing commitment. He pyramided positions only after the market proved him right. That philosophy cannot coexist with overtrading. Pyramiding requires patience, overtrading requires impulse. The two are opposites. To eliminate overtrading, one must redefine productivity. Productivity is not number of trades, it is quality of execution. It is adherence to rules. It is emotional stability. Some of the most profitable trading days are the days without trades. Because capital remains intact, clarity remains sharp, energy remains conserved. The market will always provide movement. It does not always provide opportunity. Overtrading confuses the two. In the end, the silent killer does not appear as drama. It appears as habit, small deviations, minor impatience, slight lowering of standards. And then, months later, the account tells the story. Jesse Livermore's enduring lesson is not about constant participation. It is about selective aggression. Strike when probability is aligned. Wait when it is not. The market rewards discipline, not activity. And the trader who learns to trade less, but better, begins to survive long. Because in speculation, survival is the foundation of success. Without survival, opportunity is meaningless, and overtrading destroys survival quietly. That is why it is the silent killer.